Okay, this according to Pete Thamel that I wanted to dig into because I love Amanda's. Well, I love my opinions, but I really like Amanda's.
I love him.
I love
Well, I love my own
I love
opinion.
my opinions, but Amanda's are above average.
Thanks.
Just
Thanks.
joking. The 11 college presidents and chancellors who make up the College Football Playoffs Board of Managers met via Zoom on Monday and began a discussion that could reshape the future of college sports. So this is what I think that people are missing a little bit. According to Pete Thamel, multiple sources told ESPN that the board of managers briefly discussed the possibility of restructuring how college football is governed, with the idea presented of major college football potentially being governed outside of the NCAA. The most logical place for the sport to be run outside of the NCAA would be under the auspices of the CFP. Bum, 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 bum. The way he writes it makes me think of Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. But the CFP is your new NCAA. Get ready. In 5 years, the term NCAA will be a moot point, as they say in Saudi Daisy. Not a mute point. A mute. It'll be a moot point. No jokes there. But Amanda, this
Thought
is
that's what it was called, a moot point.
it is a moot point.
Okay.
Misuse it would be a mute point.
There we go. You did that backwards.
That the CFP is going to run college football. There has to be an organizing body. That's what I was trying to beat around. I don't know if you noticed that with Greg Sankey at SEC Media Days. Beat around the bush. Is it the SEC that steps in, or there's
It
a
can't
real
be.
well, I wouldn't think so, but there's a real possibility that the most powerful man in college football stood with us, and he almost missed our interview because he was eating a frozen yogurt. And that was Bill Hancock, the executive director of the
He
college
was
football playoff.
he was the kindest, sweetest old man like ever. He was like a grandpa. Like he was the sweetest little old man, and I liked him a lot.
I did too.
He was really
But
nice.
a lot of people like the chancellor in Star Wars before they realized that he was.
Okay, I don't. Let's get off the Star Wars.
Is that too much of
Star
a
Wars is
for you?
there's just a lot of Star Wars going on, and I am not comfortable with that
So
this
how would
morning. I don't have
okay,
much to add.
okay, Chris Landry is going to join us here shortly, but how would you govern college football? Please like and
I,
subscribe to this page. How would you govern college football? How would you set up the infrastructure to govern the entire thing?
I'd do a complete overhaul.
I would too, but I'm curious what you do because now you have Mark Emmert who's gone. So you have an opportunity to do an overhaul. You have a new power structure. Sankey's always been strong at the SEC. The Big Ten now at least looks aggressive and full of life, even if they've made a bad business decision, in my opinion. So what you're now president of the NCAA. How do you set this? How do you set this up? Who governs this thing?
So, first and foremost, if I'm president of the NCAA, I'm hiring a lot of people, and I don't care if they tell me that I don't have the money, I'm doing it anyway. What are you going to do? Second, I'm reining in this NIL stuff. And I think it will be reined in with that LSU quarterback just taking the money and running. I think it's fantastic. I think that will be reined in to an extent because people who are providing these NIL deals, because it's not the schools, it's the companies and what have you. People that provide those will start to be like, oh, okay, maybe we don't do that because they can't do it based off performance. So if I were the NCAA, I would change that rule. I would rein it in somehow. I don't know how it is. I would rein it in. But then I would also point out that a lot of the rules that are made concerning football are made by the institutions because that's what we found out. And I didn't know that.
Right.
So
Rules involving discipline. Is that what you're referring to?
it's either discipline or the rules on the field, like the targeting and stuff like that. That was if I'm not mistaken, when we were talking to someone at SEC Media Days, that was
Football officials, and I can't remember his name. But anyway,
yes. He was saying that those rules come from the institutions themselves and they agree on something. So whereas everyone wants to blame it on the NCAA, it's actually not them that do the stuff that's concerned on the football field. Now, as the NCAA, I would point that out because most people think that the NCAA they're making the targeting rules and they're making these rules, like these other rules in football, and they're not. So I'd go ahead and point that out. And then after I reined in the NIL, I would start implementing contracts, because if we're going to pay the players and they're paid players, they need to have accountability for where they go and what they do, as opposed to everybody else having accountability for their decisions. They need to, if you're going to go to the school and you're going to play for the school, you are going to sign a contract that says, I'm playing for such and such school. You can do a 1-year contract, you can do 2, you can do 4. It's up to you.
Has to be fair on both sides, though.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Because right now it's a year to year with the school on the school's end. They could drop you at any point. They never did. They could.
But that needs to be implemented. There needs to be a contract between the school, the coach, and the player. Because I think if anything happens to the coach or the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, whoever recruited you, if they leave, then you should have the ability to leave. That contract should be null and void after that.
Okay, that's a bit of a slippery slope. I like where you're going, but let me challenge it just a little bit. Okay, so if it's the head coach, that's easy, right? Head coach is gone. You have the right to leave. What if it's your offensive coordinator and
it's whoever recruited you?
Okay, so would it be head coach, offensive coordinator, and recruiter, or would it be head coach and or recruiter?
It would be head coach, coordinator, recruiter.
Okay.
So if any of them break rank, basically, if any of them break their contract or leave, then your contract is now null and void.
Okay, now let me throw something else at you that the universities would say, which is bunk. Okay, it's not true, but I'm going to play the other side. Okay, you can't do that. You can't go ahead and take that approach because we recruit as a group, a unit. There is no one recruiter. But it's a group of recruiters. It's a team effort. That's what we do.
That's false, because there is a recruiter named to each player. There is. You can look it up. You can find it.
No, I know.
There is a specific recruiter. I mean, I'm telling you, like your school.
Yes.
There's a specific recruiter assigned to each player. Therefore, you might do it as a unit, but this person has responsibility to this kid.
Okay, let me throw this at you too. Mike Eckler, Tennessee's outside linebackers coach. He recruits a young man, gets him to commit. He is the key recruiter. Young man gets there and he puts on 20 pounds in no time, and he is a defensive end or maybe even a defensive tackle. So then Rodney Garner is his position coach. What about position coaches? I'm just trying to illustrate the slippery slope.
No, I understand that. The position coach doesn't matter because you didn't sign up under that position coach. Even if you switch positions, it doesn't really matter because that's not what you signed up to do. It is one of those things where you signed up to do this, like to be here under this person to do this job. If you switch jobs, that's on you. That's not on anybody else. If the coach says, hey, come play this position, that's on you.
Well, and you mentioned contract. I would take it a step so far that the young man could designate his lead contact. So, which you're using the term recruiter, But
Right.
let's say, for instance, that he just develops a relationship with Bob, the linebackers coach, but he really wants to play for David Cutcliffe, the quarterback guru. I'm just using an example. So he could designate his one coach in that contract that if he leaves, I'm gone. So he would have the head coach, coordinator, and he would have, I'm going to make up a brand new term, which basically would mean a preferred point of contact. That's whether that's recruiter or that's position coach. You can have one or the other. You pick that guy on the contract. He goes, you're clear and void.
That's a better solution. I think that hits the target. There you are. The end. I mean, that covers everything.
Yeah. Watch out, global warming, because we got that fixed. That took less than like 10 minutes.